Keep California cowgirls from vanishing. Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. Training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse, Semi. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Sadie practices over the haunches with an ATV mechanical cow simulator.
Pulling slack. And Susie's coming my way because she feels the pressure behind her horns.
We continue training Morgan Mare Firecrest Easter Eve and her Morgan daughter Shadrach Sunshine Sadie to pull in pairs.
In the distance there you see Shadrach Sunshine Sadie being ground driven here in our what we call HVD West pasture. We're letting Sadie become accustomed to the surroundings here. She's even going into our west corridor where we're going to be planting some Timothy hay in the next month or two. You can see all of the signs of relaxation right now with her harness on and being ground driven, but in an eye blink that can change. So we're giving her plenty of opportunity to walk around here. She's got her blinders on. We want her to see things from every vantage point she can around here. And then look what we have hanging on our shed wall. That is our harness training pole for pairs driving. This is what we're aiming for. Now Sadie is our biggest challenge because she hasn't done a lot of driving. We're going to try to continue to train her here with her mother Eve, who has been a real good harness horse, a real good pulling horse. I think she'll be a good influence on Sadie. First, we're doing each one individually out here in this new area. They graze here, but they seldom have been asked to work here and never to drive line here with their harnesses on. So that's what we're doing, one small step at a time, and you're seeing it. We're going to film every step of the way for you. And in the next few months, we want to be able to do this in pairs with Sadie and Eve. Ultimately, to pull farm implements, and ultimately, to have the driveline handler in a four-cart, which we're building here at Minmore Farms. We're not in a rush for any of this. We're doing it all in small steps with a lot of repetition. Now there's a little girl walking there outside the perimeter fence, which is a very new sight to Sadie. But I know she saw her, even though she had her blinders on. She seemed to be fine on it. We're doing G and Ha. G means go to the right. Ha means go to the left. Now it looks like Katie's going to try a back. We'll see. At least she did a nice hoe. There you go. Can we get a straight back? Very nice. Very nice. Okay, we're going to bring her back here toward the camera. And then we're going to show you how we introduce or reintroduce the harness pole to her. We have shown her the harness pole in the past, but it was in a different setting. Okay, now it's time to introduce or reintroduce Sadie to the harness pole. And Erin is going to walk around Sadie with it. It doesn't make any noise to speak of, but it's kind of weird looking. She sees it now in front of her. She seems fine on it. Erin, slowly walk around her. Not too close, not too far. if she's really concerned about it, she's going to turn and try to follow it. You see, like that. She's not sure if that thing is going to attack her once it goes on her side or behind her. And remember, she has blinders on, so she did what I thought she might do. Now, Erin, as you walk by her, talk to her. Tell her you're coming. There you go. See, again, she's looking. We're going to do this one small step at a time. We're going to make her realize that it's kind of weird, but it's not going to attack her. Okay, now Erin on this end is going to very carefully turn around, go the other direction. We always do everything both directions. She got a little bit concerned, but she's licking her lips. So that's a good sign of relaxation. But look, her ears are perked. Yeah, her neck is up. She doesn't have a cocked leg. She wants to follow it. Okay, so stop. Let her look at it. It's perfectly acceptable to want to investigate what is this monstrous looking thing walking around me for. Good. Be careful when you turn it that you don't touch her with any end of it. That might scare her. We talk to her. We let her realize she's allowed to follow it. It's her nature. And now that we've gone around both directions, Erin, you walk away, and Katie, you drive line her toward it. Let her follow it. It's one thing to have it walk around her. It's another thing to have her follow it. Make a few figure eights here. And I'm just watching today body language, because that's going to help me decide what would be the next small step. Do I actually want to hook this thing up to her here in this large, what we call HVD West pasture, or do I just want to maybe place it next to her as if we were going to hook it up? And that latter choice is presently, I believe, the choice I'm going to make. Good, good. Now, remember that the short end goes toward her chest. The long end goes behind her, because attached to it will be what we pull. So, Erin, take a few steps back. Let her follow it if she needs to, if she wants to. Okay, let her smell it. Investigation is always very important to allow. Okay, see if you can straighten up and keep it parallel to her. Put it down on the ground. You know, if it's up in the air, it's one thing. If it's down on the ground, it could be possibly another monster. Good. If she were dancing around, I'd be concerned, but you can see she's not dancing around at all. Now, Erin, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick it up from the south side, which is the side you're on. Pick it up parallel to her as if it were hooked to her harness. Quietly. And the clasps are making a little bit of noise, but nothing really scary. One thing we've learned, especially with Sadie, because she's young and tends to pick up her back legs, kick out at things, is to keep the harness pole high enough that she can't get a back leg over it. So where it is right now, we consider a safe distance from the ground. And by description with words, we say it has to be no lower than where her leg connects to her hip. Ah, she just touched it. See, that got her concerned. She's still licking her lips, though, but she isn't standing still, which indicates to me she's a little bit concerned.
Good girl, Sadie. Come back here. Hi.
Okay, and Erin, pull back out, back away, and do it now to the other side. We don't know which horse is going to be on which side. And we want to make sure each horse will take the harness pole on each side. Now she's a little bit concerned because it's behind her, but she knows it's around. Talk to her, Aaron. Good girl. Okay, and try to walk up to her, keeping it high enough that she can't kick and get a foot over it. Now this is made out of ABS and PVC, so it's pretty lightweight. It's just a training device. When we actually have our using harness pole, it will be made out of much more heavy and strong material like steel or wood. Okay, now Katie, you try to step her up. Step up means go forward. And Aaron, you try to go with her, but put the short end a little closer to her breast, because that's where it's going to be hooked to. It's going to be hooked to her collar. And Katie, can you stand a little bit to the side or back? You've got long enough drive lines to do it. And then you tell her to step up. And see, we've got an arm extension in Katie's hand, so she can very gently tap her on the hip.
Oh.
Good.
Good girl.
Still investigating. That's good. But keep that back end high in case she does kick up. Still concerned, still concerned. So you see, we're going to do this a lot before we actually hook up.
Okay with that?
And although we're doing it alone with Sadie today, I think when we have Eve out here as well, Sadie will gain confidence by watching her mother not get concerned. And you'll be watching because we'll film it. We think that Eve will be just fine on doing all of this and on actually hooking up. And then once we're sure that Eve will accept being hooked up to it with a human being on the other side, we'll try to do the same thing, only we'll have Sadie on the other side. Oh, good. That's real good. Can you step up a little bit?
Step up. Step up.
No, she gets too into sniffing it.
Step up.
Okay, go with her.
Easy.
See, the clasps are making a little noise. She's trying to watch it, although she has her blinders on. Good, go. Make a big circle. That's the haw circle to Sadie's left. Keep going with her. Keep going with her. Try a G circle. And Aaron, you go with as if it were connected to her. Come on back towards the camera. And you know, we try to make our sessions short and stop on a good note of resolution. Oh, I'm really pleased to show you Sadie's progress today in getting ready to do pairs driving. Today we're harnessing up Eve, who's Sadie's mom. We played with her a little bit out here yesterday. She was just fine, but we didn't have the camera. Now we have the camera, so we thought on this video we'll show you a few minutes of what it takes to get them harnessed with their pairs harnesses, which I bought off the internet as matching pairs. Right now, Katie has just put on the saddle. It's a surcingle saddle, and she's working on the back piece, which is the Britchen, B-R-I-T-C-H-E-N. I've also heard it called breeching, B-R-E-E-C-H-I-N-G, as well as the crooper, which goes under the tail. Now look how good Eve is being. Don't assume, if you decide to do this, that your horse will be good. It takes desensitization. It takes trust, confidence. Eve is just a great horse for this kind of event, for this kind of task. I think she'll be probably my most productive farming horse ultimately. And I'm showing you how good she is, even to get this tap on. Did you see how Katie put on the collar? These collars don't have buckles that you can open and then put under the neck and then over the neck. They are full circle, and we have to put it over the horse's head, which means we have to desensitize them to that sight and feeling and sound of having a collar go over their head. Both Eve and Sadie have been pretty good about that. And now Eve has the bit in her mouth, and we've got blinders on the bridle. This whole rig, by the way, is all leather and relatively new, and I'm very happy with it, as I am with Sadie's matching rig, harness rig. Now when the saddle goes on, it's not quite cinched up as tight as a riding saddle, but you don't want it too loose that you can move it back and forth on the back. And here come the drive lines. And what is our objective today in the spirit of one small step at a time? Number one, show you what it took to harness. And then show you just a couple minutes of Eve being driven with ground drive lines around here. We're here just in case there's trouble, but we really don't have apprehension because Eve is so good at this kind of thing. Of course, anything could spook her.
Okay.
There's a motorcycle coming up the road. She's kind of used to that sound, but it could spook her. But she seems quite relaxed. Her neck is down. Her ears are back. She's not licking her lips. Is she blinking her eye? Let me watch. Because if she's blinking her eye, that means she's not in the fright mode. In the fright mode, a prey animal will not blink their eyes because their eyes are a tool to figure out what it is that's frightening them. Hi, Evie. No, she's blinking just fine. She's not cocking her leg right now, but she doesn't look. Her neck just went up. She heard something, but she's being good. And Katie is just hitching up the drive lines. In a moment, we'll work around here in this pasture. We call it the HVD West pasture. We make sure there are no gopher holes. We make sure there are no puddles because I do irrigate year round. And my pasture grass is doing quite well. And I have this cart whip just in case Katie needs it to get some forward motion by tapping Eve on her hip. So here we go.
Ha.
Ha means go to the left. She just went to her left.
Ha.
She's trying to walk into the camera, but she listened to the ha command, which asked her, with a slight tug on the drive line as well, to
Step up, ha.
go to the left. And here we go. Step up, ha. Okay. Try to do a G turn wherever you are. It doesn't matter. We know she's going to be good.
Step up, G.
Step up, G, says Katie. I see no fright, no concern in Eve's body language. So the next objective for today, and we base this on, how did they do on the prior objective, and she did very well, is to bring her up to be parallel to our training hitch pole.
Oh.
Okay.
Back.
Now, will she back? Yes. That's good.
Oh.
Boy, that ho command has to be right on the button, otherwise she'll back right over the training hitch pole and its hardware. And you know what I realized just now? I put it down,
Upside
not realizing it, with the bolts up, which is not good. So I'm just going to put this cart whip down. If we need it, we can grab it. I'm going to bring this training hitch pole up. It's one thing when it's on the ground. It's yet another possible monster when it's off the ground. It's all right, Eve. It's got some hardware on it, so it's going to shake a little bit, have that metal sound. It's all right, Eve. Now, a horse gains a lot of confidence if it can follow the object that is scaring it. So for today, we're going to do it in that order. I'm going to move around. I'm going to ask Katie to follow me. First, by the way, I'm going to turn it over. You see, it's lightweight. This is ABS. This is PVC. It's lightweight on purpose so that we can maneuver it like this easily. I'm going to make a path similar to the path that Katie just made with Eve. And I'm going to ask Katie to have Eve ground drive in that same path.
Step up.
That will give Eve confidence that this is not a scary object chasing her. Very nice, Eve. So there you have a ha turn. Let's try a G turn. I'll go towards the shelter. Good. Look at that G over. Very nice. All right, now I'm going to put it down. And you're probably wondering, if you didn't watch the first part of this video with a lot of attention, what are these two horizontal pieces? The front piece gets hooked to the collar. There is a stainless steel connector on the collar. The back piece
Back.
gets hooked up high on the hips
Good girl.
so that it's not too low if a horse steps out. Okay, and we just have another helper arrived, so this is great because he's gonna hold the back up while I hold the front up. And we're gonna walk with Eve, maybe connected, maybe not, depending upon how she behaves. And remember, this is Erin. Remember, Erin, it has to be high enough so that if Eve goes like this for any reason, she doesn't get her leg over it. So my rule of thumb is about this high. Okay, so I'm going to be the leader, and Katie is going to go with us this time instead of following us. And you're going to hold up the back as if we were trying to do some pulling and farming. And I'm not going to connect anything at this point. Step back a little bit. Okay, so picture, instead of me here, Sadie is going to be here one of these days. Picture that this front piece is going to be hooked right here with a quick release to this stainless steel piece on the collar. Now the back is going to be hooked through the dog collars here to hold it up to something that we're pulling. And eventually we're going to pull when the person with the drive lines is not walking on the ground but riding in a forecart, F-O-R-E-C-A-R-T. We're making one of those here at Minmore Farms from an old wagon that used to be pulled by a tractor. Okay, so now I'm going to say the instructions, and we all understand the words. G, step up, back, etc. And everybody's going to try to get Eve to understand that she is going to be moving in those directions without concern. Okay, so we're going to step up and then we're going to haw. Step up. Step up, Eve. Very nice. Step up, haw. Step up, haw. Step up, haw. Good girl, Eve. Let's do step up, haw more. Good. We're going to go right by the camera. You see how this is clanking and it's touching her, but because Eve is Eve, she's okay on it. Let's keep going straight. Good. Now we're going to G. Step up, G. G is to her right. G. G. Good girl. Step up, Eve. Very nice. Steady. Ho. You see I use the word steady or easy when I want to slow down the pace or ask them to stop. I'm going to stand in front here. Remember, this is theoretically hooked up here to this collar and here to the collar of the horse that's driving in pairs. I'm going to say, Eve, back, 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 back. Whoa, very nice. A little farther back here so I can show her. Whoa, easy. Good. She just wants to understand. If she understands, she'll do it. Now I'm going to ask her to step up, step up, step up. Steady, ho. Very nice. And I am going to take the next step. You hold up the back like you are. This is a quick release. That means it's very strong coupling, but if I need to quickly release it, I just pull back a sleeve. And Josh, can you zoom in on that? A lot of people don't know what quick releases are. As a matter of fact, at the hardware store, if I say I need you to order some quick releases, they have no idea. I have to find it for them in their catalog. Okay, so now I'm going to commit. I just quick released this training harness pole to Eve. And then one more new thing today. We've done it in the past, but it was several months ago, and it wasn't here. It was up and down a sanded driveway. Here, it's big, wide open spaces, grassy, a lot of neighbors, etc. It's another challenge. Now look how Eve is looking around. She's concerned because the wind's coming up. The only other thing I want to do today, you keep it where it is, Aaron. I'm letting Eve feel the pressure of the harness pole on her collar. All right. It's all right, Eve. It's all right. There we go. Now I'm going to quick release it. It immediately released. We're going to move to our, my right, your left. Put it down. And then we're going to take Eve to our tie pole and start to unhitch. You always have to think, if you're trying to take something off, is it still connected somewhere? Because that can be disconcerting to an animal. You're pulling on something to come off, it's pulling somewhere on their bodies, and they can get spooked, and then you can have a runaway. So I'm just explaining to you as we do it what our concerns are. Now Katie's going to take the bridle off. We don't want a head coming up when the bridle comes off, so we put our arm over the neck, and then the bridle comes over the ears. And you saw how good Eve was about that. Now watch her do the collar, because remember, we had to put it over the head to put on, over the head to take off. Now the crupper, very carefully take the crupper out from under the tail, and a horse will oftentimes, if they're not used to this, clamp their tail down, so you have to deal with that. And when you take the crupper off, make sure if you're worried about hairs getting caught in it, you use your hand to cover the buckle. So you've seen the whole session today with Firecrest Easter Eve.
Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Sammy, Rusty, and Susie. Heifer calf Sela. For more information, www.cowgirlchannel.com.